sat down at a bench near Warner. It was a beautiful day. I just wanted to enjoy it. But I looked over to the other side of the bench, and there's a man sitting there. And when I looked over, he punched me in the face. Why did this happen? Well, as humans, sometimes we judge each other by what we see before we even have a chance to judge each other by what we know. The man who punched me in the face had just read an Instagram post about first wave feminism. He thought that as a man, I was a misogynist. Had he gotten to know me, he would have realized that I simply grew up in a misogynistic society and that I've worked as hard as I can to unlearn my problematic biases. But he didn't. He didn't know that. So as I sat down on that bench, the man saw my beard and he judged me by the common stereotypes of a cisgender man. Now, I'm not going to stand here and say that there aren't a lot of misogynistic men out there, because there are. But I think it's important to know that we shouldn't judge people by the societal boxes that we think they fit into. And rather than a punch, we should deliver our fellow humans empathy and vulnerability. Because if you do that, you might just understand the person you're sitting next to. That's why, for the past 2 weeks, my colleagues and I at the Design Thinking Yellow Group Collective have been working on a chair that could revolutionize the way we think about human interaction. At first, our goal was general. We wanted a structure that could support diversity and free expression at Colorado College. Some of our preliminary concepts were inspired by the function of an umbrella, the simplest shelter from the elements. We imagined how the umbrella's function of excluding us from unwanted weather could be reimagined to exclude us from unwanted interactions. The idea is that there are certain times to take up brave spaces and fearlessly express ourselves as participants of democracy, and yet there are other times when we need to take refuge in safe spaces so that we don't wear ourselves out. One idea that we came up with was a hat that unfolded into a curtain. This served the purpose of deflecting unsolicited advice from, say, your uncle. We also came up with a poncho that allowed its users to comfortably enter any gas station bathroom. It even hooked onto the stall to hide your feet. About a week into our work, the idea morphed from exclusivity into inclusivity. We wanted to bring people together, and we realized that the ideal platform for diversity and free expression was a conversation. One-on-one communication creates empathy between people, especially for those who come from different backgrounds. We knew that, and we knew that we had to take it to the extreme. That's why we made a structure that makes users vulnerable and empathetic simply by interacting with the design. The Rocky Talkie is a 2-person rocking chair that is meant for outdoor seating. The chair marries vulnerability and empathy with 2 crucial designs. The structure of the seats positions the user's arms and legs in an open posture. This welcoming body language communicates to the other rider that the user is ready to be vulnerable. And without knowing it, they're ready too. Unlike dangerous benches, the Rocky Talkie faces riders toward each other to promote empathy. In this position, it's nearly impossible not to lock eyes and see yourself in the person across from you. For the cherry on top, we added the rocking feature so that both riders would work together for the steady back and forth motion. This allows each rider to feel the weight and presence of the other. As I said before, we at Design Thinking Yellow Group Collective believe the Rocky Talkie will revolutionize the way we think about human interaction. It will transform the way we understand those who hold opinions that conflict with our own. Don't believe me? What about an MIT professor of law? John Pelfrey said in his book, Safe Spaces, Brave Spaces, everyone involved in the debate about free expression and diversity would benefit from a greater degree of listening to and empathy for others with a different political viewpoint. So if you're wondering what that man at the other end of the bench thinks about feminism, or systemic misogyny, or even free expression, I suggest you invite him for a ride on the Rocky Talkie. And maybe, just maybe, you won't get punched.